because we're on this side of the board.
Well,
man.
that's true. That's true, man. Wait a minute. There we go. Oh. Well, as the funk gets started, so does. The Evan and Aaron Show presents the Red and the Blue Soccer Chat with Evan and Aaron here. We are coming to you live on a Wednesday night. This is our shorter podcast, so we're just going to do a quick hit of a few things. Chelsea lost, and that's all I want to say.
Well, I'm afraid we're going to have to dive in just a little deeper than that.
Oh, my God, man.
Yeah.
That was...
Let's just jump right in. I think it really wasn't... And there's a reason why I wrote, our little intro, our blurb there the way I did, because, we talk about performances and we talk about results, and... you can have good performances and bad results. You can have bad performances and good results.
Right.
And a lot of that depends on the context of the competition you're in. Mm-hmm. And, ultimately you want to have both. But there's a lot of times that, there's something to be said over the course of a season playing poorly and still figuring out how to win a game. Right. And they say that's what champions do. But in knockout competitions, it's imperative that you do that, because over the course of a season, you can put in a good performance and not get the result, and it won't hurt you as long as you don't make a habit of that.
Right.
I think today's game exposed Chelsea's inability to really fully take advantage of goal-scoring opportunities. They didn't play poorly, aside from the third goal.
Oh, my.
Which was just a self-inflicted wound.
Yeah.
The first two goals were a result of really, really good attacking play.
Yes.
From a team that, has not really played all that great lately, but I go back to my point. They took advantage of their goal scoring opportunities, and let's face it, Madrid could have maybe had a few more goals. Benzema maybe could have had, 4 or 5. He missed one, I think, toward the end of the first half.
Yeah, he should have had
that he really should have had.
Should have had another one.
I thought Havertz was a bright spot. He was constantly causing problems.
Yeah.
But other than that, it was, I would say, not a pedestrian performance from Chelsea, but they're not taking advantage of their opportunities, and it really demonstrates the need for a pure out and out striker for this club.
Right. I am not ready to obviously jump ship yet.
No.
If you'd have asked me that on Saturday, those
are hard ones to watch.
That was bad, man.
Yeah.
This one interesting. Karim Benzema, and I pronounce it wrong, but that's Southern Ohio. He's incredible.
Yeah, he is.
This is part of the reason why no one wants to face France, with all this talent that they have coming into the team for the World Cup. We'll get to that probably next Wednesday. But this performance today, man, is this truly the beginning of the end? I think that when what you saw with Brentford, what you saw today, I think there's stuff that we don't know. I think the players, quite frankly, you don't go from winning games like they have been winning games, gritting it out, toughing it out, really trying. You don't go from that to 4-1 Brentford, 3-1 Real. And once again, I'm not taking anything away from Real's performance today. They played well. They deserved to win this game today. We had so many options, or not options, but we had so many opportunities to score today. We did not take advantage of that. Although I will say, there were a few shots that were really, really nice. And Reece James had a really beautiful shot that Courtois, it was Courtois. He did his thing today. But is it a performance to where, is it a three bell fire alarm? I don't think so, but boy, it's getting close, man. It's getting close.
I think that you've reached the point of this competition that has been illustrated consistently throughout their other competition in the Premier League, and that is Chelsea are a very good football club.
Yeah.
But they're not on the same level as your cities, your Liverpools, your Madrids at this point. You know, this time last year, I think they were converting more of those goal scoring opportunities.
Oh, I'd agree. I totally.
And
yeah, absolutely.
You know, it's largely the same group of people, and I don't think they're compromising their play because of Lukaku. I think they're still creating opportunities.
Boy,
and
he had an opportunity today, boy. I tell you.
But there's the difference. I mean, Real Madrid manufactured their opportunities, and the guy on the end of it was Karim Benzema. You guys manufactured opportunities, and Kai Havertz
got one.
Looked the most deadly. I mean, he had multiple opportunities.
Yeah.
I think he had one that I think on another day might have gone in, and I think perhaps was deflected right as he was taking the shot because he broke into the box nicely.
Mount had a couple of good shots, but boy, I tell you what, someone else who's in a drought, Mason Mount.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just not. You're right. The attacks are not getting through. They're not getting through.
Yeah, and then because of that, it leaves you exposed. And you know, again, I wouldn't really say anybody was at fault for the first two goals. They just moved.
Right.
They moved the ball really nicely,
Right.
and those are two very, very good controlled headed finishes.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, the first is a bullet for a guy who's just finding spot, and then the second one is, you know, maybe you can blame a little bit of, you know, how easy that ball got played in, and maybe you try to bump him a little more.
Yeah.
But
man, he's moving to his right, and
he
he's
is
doing everything that you should do.
And Benzema reads him. I mean, Benzema just looks at him and beats him. This is what happens. You know, it's one-on-one.
Benzema
right?
pulled a Gordon.
And Benzema, man, I wish I could head like that. That's never been my forte. But you know, it's there's the difference at this level. Is, you know, these are two heavyweights, and one of them's got a stronger punch. You know,
I thought about this today as I was, you know, as following you over here and driving over. I was like, you know, who does what now? Like what does, you know, how do you, as either Thomas Tuchel, you know, Cesar Azpilicueta, Dave, thank you, you know, or maybe even, you know, Thiago Silva, who steps up, who speaks to this locker room? I feel like it's got to be the manager. It's got to be the manager to continue to push these guys, you know, and say, hey, look, Tuchel can do this. He can do it. But I think that he needs some player help in getting guys to buy back in.
And I'm beginning to think you're getting dangerously close to running out a few players. I think Azpilicueta is probably the heartbeat of this team. He's captain, and he's been a great leader for this club, but he's kind of reaching that Roy Keane phase of or Roy Kent at that, of where the performances just really don't quite live up to it. And when you're struggling as a player, no matter how much you're trying to lead, everybody else looks at that. It's why Maguire's struggling as a captain right now. And I'm not in any way suggesting Dave is in that kind of form.
Right.
But I do think Chelsea's got to be looking at the future and who's a leader out there, who's a natural leader. You know, who's somebody who just by default. Look, Bruno doesn't wear the captain's armband for Manchester United, but you watch that guy and he's talking to everybody and he's G'ing everybody up. And I don't see who that is. There's a lot of quiet characters in that Chelsea team. Lukaku, Havertz, Werner, Mount, Pulisic. These are not. I mean,
they're not the chippy ones.
Puli can get hype, but it seems to be more in a red, white, and blue jersey, and I understand that. Chelsea's got a different kind of role to play, and he's still maturing. But I'm not seeing that guy. I'm not seeing the player. N'Golo Kante is just a quiet, go about business dude, and I think in the trenches where you are right now, I mean, look, let's face it. If you don't get a win at the Bridge next week, and not just a win, but you actually have to pull off a pretty solid performance and get several goals, your season is effectively over. And the problem mentally is if you turn around and play Southampton this weekend and pull a Brentford, and let's face it, Southampton's been steadily improving. So
the draw last time they were out.
You're at Southampton and then got to go to Real Madrid to get a result. The problem is, I hate to say collapse, but definitely malaise could be setting in at this club.
Well,
and then all of a sudden you're finding yourself going, oh shit, fourth place reeled us in.
Yeah, no. And that's the thing. I think that, oh man, I do. I'm with you. I hate to say it, but I think collapse is a decent word to start using. It feels weird. I don't know. As a Chelsea fan, it feels weird, Aaron.
Well,
you know what I mean?
I think the winds that are swirling outside the club right now probably add to that.
Yeah.
You wouldn't feel this way if you were like, you know what? Roman's going to do what Roman does, and he's going to reinvest in this team, and it's not a problem. Just get him a Tuchel. Your job is to get him across that third place finish line.
Yep.
Try to pull a rabbit out of the hat next week if you can, but let's face it, the focus now is solidify third place.
Yeah.
Right? And then you can say, hey, who's really committed here? Is Bayern Munich fluttering their eyes at Kai Havertz? Is that going to? I mean, look, if there's question marks and you're Kai Havertz and Bayern Munich comes looking for you, it's hard to say no to that.
Exactly.
It's like when Real Madrid or Barcelona come for these guys. I'm not mad at them if they can't see a future that's being built. And I wouldn't have said this even 4 months ago at Chelsea. United have been in this struggle for a long time. I'm quite familiar with it.
Sure.
But I wouldn't have said anything like this about Chelsea a few months ago. But with the political shit going on, with just what appears to be a bit of a late season kind of a vibe going on, it's going to take locker room to get through.
Yeah.
So,
boy, I wish this stuff happened in January instead of April. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like, man, this is just the most inopportune time to do this.
Yeah.
As I think you mentioned, Aaron, Chelsea has Southampton. They're away at Southampton.
Yeah.
They have Real on Tuesday, and then we're back at the Bridge against Palace. I mean, we
a London derby against a club that right now is that Vieira has
hot.
Flying high. Look what they did to Arsenal the other day.
Win, draw, win. Last 5 matches.
Yeah. And did you watch that last one? Because that was them taking Arsenal behind the woodshed.
Oh man,
that was from a Man U perspective, that was fun to watch.
Oh, and by the way, the one draw that they had, Man City.
Well, but see that kind of shows. I mean, it can happen. Yep. So there's something to continue to fight for.
Yep. So let's make that transition with the halftime shot.
Halftime.
Yeah, halftime. There you go.
And I'm just gonna say big congrats to the U.S. getting qualified, getting into their group, and that's what we're gonna jump into now.
Yes.
So,
Slinky. USA.
USA. So we're going to dedicate some time in the next probably few shows to get through it and do a little bit of a dive on each group. And, of course, we're going to start with Group B because that's where the baby Eagles of the United States men's national team are residing.
Do we have an eagle sound or anything like that? Oh, wow. That was really good.
Eagle. Oh.
That's for you. Right there.
Thanks.
That's for you, my friend.
I appreciate that.
See, that's what happens when Ed McMahon messes with the soundboard. It just doesn't work. Doesn't work.
Well, all right then.
Yep.
For those who don't know, England was pot 1, Group B. United States, pot 2, Group B.
No, pot 3.
No, we were pot 2, I believe.
I think so.
No. That's the order they got drawn.
Yeah.
All the ones got first, and then it just got scrambled around.
My bad.
I believe USA was pot 2.
That's what I get for taking pictures when Idris Elba was up
right. And then the European playoff spot, which is very convoluted, is the pot 3, and the Islamic Republic of Iran pot 4. So, obviously, I think the first thing to talk about is just the goofiness of what's going on in the world. Scotland and Ukraine should have already played a match, and then the winner of that should have played Wales, and that has not taken place, and that game may not take place. It would be unfortunate because I think the story
I think
of
oh
Ukraine
my gosh.
managing to get through and qualify for the World Cup. And of course, it would be really difficult to play them in that match because
Right.
you're like, but then I believe somebody referred to it as the UN Security Council group. Um, if Ukraine was in there, so but I think
man.
you've in my opinion, I think Wales is the strongest of those three teams. And I think they have an iconic player in Gareth Bale, who's probably getting to the point where he's viewing this as his last hurrah. So he's going to want to go big. So I'm putting Wales in that spot.
Okay. Okay.
First off, do you have any thoughts on that?
No, I mean, Bale, I mean, is the guy. When you think of Wales, you think, well, I just made a rhyme. When you think of Wales, you think of Bale.
In golf.
There you go. And also, he got in today. He was a super sub today.
He was,
in the match. Played solid. I think Wales, as much as I love Scotland, absolutely love Scotland. The people are wonderful. As much as I would love to see the story of Ukraine, I just don't think they can match the firepower.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I can't even imagine how Ukraine is prepping right now, attempting to play, or even how you'd focus.
Although these guys, man, hey, we thought this war would be over in 3 days, man.
Well, we did. I'm just hoping half the Ukrainian football team doesn't have to get conscripted here. So
exactly.
Consensus. Let's put them there. So here's how the games will unfold. The U.S. will play their first game against that particular team. People are talking about how, this being delayed a little bit makes it difficult to prepare. Look, historically, you just choose a team from a similar region that you think's going to play somewhat like that team. It's never like for like anyway. You're just saying, hey, give me something that sort of, equals that. So there's no reason you can't just go ahead and get Ireland, North Ireland on the phone. One of the Eastern European countries that hasn't qualified on the phone and say, look, let's go ahead and schedule these matches. It'll be good for us to play anyway and get prepped, because ultimately the United States just need to focus on their best starting 11.
Do you think if they do that, that also preps them a little bit for the England match as well?
Yeah, I mean, to a certain extent, and we can bop on to that, because I think if the U.S. is playing Wales, then the focus really truly has to be on how the U.S. plays its own game. I don't think you really want to get caught up in the opposing team tactics. The England match is one where you're going to have to lend them a certain level of respect and acknowledge exactly how England's going to play and how to counter that to a certain extent.
I think, man, this is just my take on it. I think that this is going to sound weird. I think the USA needs to be, it needs to be brash. It needs to go all out. I mean, you know what? If we don't want to leave. If we don't make it out of the group stage, we don't want to leave the group stage saying that, oh, damn, we should have done this. Or we should leave it all out on the field. I don't think we have anything to lose. I think we're going to. I think this is going to set us up for a nice long run of qualifying for the next World Cup.
Well, we don't have to qualify for the next World Cup, so that's nice.
Yeah, so that's nice. But I think that it sets us up. So I think that we go in, we play, all out. We do everything we need to do, and I think that first match, and like you said, I'm going to call it for Wales. It doesn't mean that, hey, whatever. But whoever's in that spot, I think that first match, we have to play our game.
Yeah,
we
you got to set the
tempo.
Yep.
We have to come in and say, look, okay, you guys, congrats, you made it. But hey, look, we are in our minds, we're going to play as if we are the best team in this group.
Yeah.
And so you're going to play our game.
Yeah, for sure.
And you're right. When we go play England, then we say, well, we very well could be the second best team in this group, but we're going to play our ass off, and we're going to frustrate you, and we're going to make sure that you know that we're here.
Yeah, and the thing about England is that they are going to be a pre-tournament favorite. They will be expected to win this group, and as the World Cup approaches, the hubris that they're showing right now, the English press will turn on them. And the pressure will mount.
Wow.
And they, anything that is seen as, less than 100 is going to get called out. And they carry a pressure that a lot of teams do not. And it just is what it is.
That's interesting.
And because of that, you can maybe get at them a little
in their
bit.
head?
Yeah, get in their head a little bit. There's already been a little bit of trash talking, a little bit of banter. That's fine. Yankee Doodle Dandy, all that jazz. But the 2 times we've played each other at the World Cup really hasn't gone your way, England. So
That's right.
you know, I think a really good, solid performance against Wales, a scoring draw or a win is nice. A definite, try to win against England, but obviously manage the game.
Absolutely.
So get a draw out of that, and then go into the Iran game believing a victory here is possible and likely. Not looking past in Iran, not downplaying them, but they are pot 4. They don't really have that many guys playing at a high level for big clubs.
Yeah.
Whereas for a change, I mean, you look at the U.S. men's national team, and we've got guys not just on the roster. We've got guys starting at big clubs. Most of this roster gets good time for their clubs in Europe, and this, the U.S. based guys are definitely starting from their MLS sides.
Oh yeah.
But you think about Weston McKennie, you think about Christian Pulisic, Tyler Adams, Yunus Musa, Giovanni Reina. These guys are playing for Champions League level clubs, and they're scoring goals and contributing. I mean, before his injury, Weston McKennie was a favorite. They were loving that guy at Juventus, and I was loving his performances for Juventus and how that was translating to the U.S. national team. So we get him back healthy. We get that midfield solidified. I think we got to focus on who's going to score the goals. We got to find that guy who's going to be able to consistently put the ball in the back of the net. Is it Jesus? Is it Pifak? Is it Pepe? Is it Aronson? Is it Sargent? Is it somebody we don't know of yet that we need to identify? Maybe somebody has a killer MLS season and we ride that wave. It's about getting hot at the right time, and I look at this group and I see a pathway out. This is not a group of death to me.
Yeah,
it is
not by any means.
We've got a European matchup of some sort. We got England for sure, and then the rematch of the Great Satan debate of 1998. It was. They called it the Great Satan matchup. We looked past Iran and had a terrible 98 World Cup, and they beat us. So, there's a certain amount of, making up for that.
True.
And looking back and saying, we got your back, Alexi Lawless, who didn't, I think who got benched for that game.
Oh, wow.
And that, that was the whole, John Harkes, captain for life, sleeping with people's wives debacle. So,
it never works out.
Asked Wayne Bridge.
Yeah, there you go. So, ladies and gentlemen, there it is. There's our first take. We will do more of an in-depth dive, but there is definitely a couple of paths out of this group.
I think
for the
so.
US.
I think so. Look, between now and then, if we solidify a 15-man rotation, which is, bear with me, but if we identify the strongest 11 and then here are the guys that are, here's how we changed up. Here's the 3 to 5 guys we utilize consistently to make this work. And then there's a few wild cards, few guys that are just playing well come World Cup time. I would hope Greg Berhalter is getting these guys in the mindset of win the damn group. Yeah. Because we'll go into it in depth probably next week with Group A, with Group A. But
oh man,
again,
what a place to be.
Not looking past anybody, but if as the pundits say, if England finished first and the U.S. finished second, then you're most likely looking at Netherlands. And again, winnable game. I'm not saying it isn't, but you always want to put yourself in the best chance. So win Group B. Go out and beat Wales or whoever. Go out and get a point against England and go win against Iran. That's 7 points. Okay. Yeah. Now England's got to match or do better. Yep. Okay. And they've got to draw as well. And let's face it, they've had some group issues in the past.
If England plays Wales, I mean, there's a whole nother level.
There's your Battle of Britain, folks.
Oh my goodness.
Wales or Scotland.
Yeah.
Right. Look, they did beat Scotland. Well, no, they didn't. That was a draw at the Euro. Oh. I'm pretty sure that was a 0-0 draw. I think it was a well-played 0-0 draw between England and Scotland at the Euro.
Where's our intern?
So, right. So I think we're looking at an anything's possible here group, because if England aren't as strong as they should be, given their roster, then these are winnable games. And you roll the dice from that point forward. It's March Madness. It's a knockout tournament. You just take the next game as it comes.
Just do it.
Netherlands are strong.
Thank you. 0-0.
Netherlands are strong, no question. But they're also not the team that went to the World Cup final in 2010.
Right.
There's a lot of different faces in there, and
wow, that's crazy.
Then if you don't, then if you win the group, I think you're probably looking at Senegal or Ecuador. I don't think Qatar's getting out of the group. Even with all their Nigerian transplants, I just don't think it's going to happen. Yeah. So, look, prepare your team, be the best version of yourself that you can be as you approach that tournament. Mm-hmm. Anybody can win it.
I would say, you know what? You are absolutely right, my friend. Hey, by the way, we need to go watch, Italy's game tapes when they played England in the Euros and see if we can copy anything, because we can't depend on Italy to do anything.
Well, they're not going to help them. They're not going to help us knock them out.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
But that game, if I remember correctly, was kind of a war of attrition.
Oh, it was.
England scored first, and then I think it took a while, and then Italy scored very, very late, and then
penalties.
So, maybe get at England early and put them in a position to have to battle back. Do what we've done to Portugal and Ghana a couple times. So.
Yep.
Anyway, folks, that's our take on Group B for the Baby Eagles. We hope you like it. Catch us on, I'm going to be posting this on multiple platforms. So if you're watching this on YouTube, give us a thumbs up, subscribe. If it's on Anchor or Spotify, do whatever is the equivalent of thumbs up and subscribing there. And this will probably make it to the gram as well. So
there you go.
Do you tickle people on the Instagram? I don't even know anymore.
No idea. I'm gonna hit this, man. And we're gonna go out.
We're gonna ride out with the beat. All right.
Yeah. So
I like it.
Tune in next Wednesday for a full show.
Bigger dive. I think we'll probably get through Group A and Group C next week, maybe. And then we'll definitely be talking about how Man U performed against Everton and how Chelsea did away to Southampton. So, folks, love you.
Black
Hashtag
people vote.
say gay.